Digital marketing has never been more powerful, and might argue that never more probably or maybe confusing. Algorithms change constantly. AI is automating campaigns, and dashboards are full of metrics, yet many companies still struggle to understand what actually drives business growth. So the real question becomes, what truly matters in digital marketing today? To explore this, I'm joined by Lauren E. Petrullo, a strategist expert in building clear KPI frameworks and performance strategies for modern digital ecosystems. Lauren, welcome to Forum IT.
Hello, hello. Thanks so much for having me here. I'm very, very happy to help add to the confusion and clarity of what is digital marketing today.
Is this your first time in Romania?
Yes.
Okay. Lauren, I do want to talk with you about the intersection between strategy, performance marketing, KPIs, social media, what we see all in the era of AI, and what shall we focus on in 2026 in terms of current trend, and what shall we change in our mind as an old mindset which is not anymore valid in 2026, or we foresee it will not be valid. Is that okay with you?
I mean, yeah, it's okay. It's like with everything in marketing, it always starts with the two most infamous words where it depends. Because the level of investment, the level of the company size that you have, the number of resources you have available, I'm going to have a different answer based off of what I would recommend you prioritize your focus and energy on. I think in general, though, that can be applicable across vertical and agnostic to whatever industry or budget you have, is that 2026 demands personalization and relevance to the highest degree that I have ever seen before. And I think conversely to that is where you're able to scale in a personalized and relevant way with AI. That helps a lot of that. It's also on the opposite side, it's never more true than pre-digital marketing age that what is old is new, and that the foundational pieces that so many brands skipped over the last decade are creeping up as, instead of it being nice to have, as a non-negotiable, like small things such as in the day and age of Amazon, same day shipping and ClickFunnels, one click buy now kind of situation. Just as we spoke a tad pre-recording, is the investment you need to build into marketing your brand allows you to have better efficiency when you're advertising your product or service. So in 2026, like the overall trend will be like personalization and relevance. You have no excuse. AI allows you to do that at scale rapidly, and that you have to go back to the fundamental and foundational basics. Otherwise, you're going to be paying more for fewer customers.
Mm-hmm. These are very interesting thoughts, Lauren, and thank you for sharing at the beginning with us. I want to challenge you. If I would stress you to put in one or two sentences the state of digital marketing in 2026 as we speak today in March 2026, okay, what would you say? How are we standing? Where are we at, and where are we looking to?
1 to 2 sentences of where we're at and what we're looking to. I think where we're at is, oh gosh, okay, I'm going to be polarizing and direct. I think March 2026, where we're at is that our tracking and attribution is inadequate, severely inadequate. Adding an extra sentence to that in the sense of we have over-assumed and over-indexed on expectations from an in-app perspective, that going back to what is old is new is looking at the entirety of all your marketing efforts and understanding the incremental impact and the contributions that it has is severely neglected right now. So like in one like hot sentence, it's just like tracking and attribution today is a hot mess and it's getting worse. The other piece that I would say for like the state of the union for digital marketing is that, we're in this really delicate balance right now where people are marketers are over-relying on AI, and we are seeing really careless cavalier and insincere marketing coming because they believe AI is smarter than their experience. And I think it's dangerous on both ends of the spectrum. So we work with a lot of older marketers who have a vast experience. I know you said 1 to 2 sentences, but I'm explaining my short sentences. That people like sentence 1 is that we're tracking attribution is like hot mess, garbage, trash.com, and lying to you most of the time. And then the second one is that many marketers are checking their brains when it comes to actually implementing AI, and they're over relying on it, which is causing brain dilution and really bad performance. Like really, really bad. So like in the over-indexing on both sides, the older audience with all their experience, because AI is contributing so many ideas that they never would have thought of. Oh, this is brand new. Because I didn't think of it, it must be good. Mm-hmm. But they're forgetting that all the other ideas they didn't think of because they knew they would be bad. But because AI is bringing all these ideas, it seems like it's fresh. Because it's fresh, it must be good. We are seeing older adults like check their brains at the door and eliminate their experience to identify what is actually a good idea or not. Then in the opposite end, in the younger, new adults to the marketplace, new adults in our companies and in our clients' firms, they're surrounded by AI and they're crippled. Like they're so challenged with the concept of, what if I'm not good enough? I don't have the experience. I need to compete. I need to like show that I'm using AI. I need to prove it. So they assume that AI has all the answers because they don't have the experience. And then they end up not gleaning any new experience. And they're the fastest ones to be replaced by AI because they replaced themselves with AI before the employer needed to.
I would want to lean in a little bit what you said about AI and the overlaying on AI. My question is that, do you think it's only like, of course, attribution and performance crisis, or AI crisis developing, or actually we have a strategy crisis, because there's a new situation which we not really know what to do?
I think you're right. In more simplistic terms, it's a strategy crisis because how you implement AI and how you measure impact across all variety of marketing channels. You're right. It absolutely is a strategy crisis. And further to that, if someone's like, well, how do I be mindful of the strategy implementations? I think if you can invest more in strategy for your brand, for your business in the next 6 months, 12 months. I'm not talking about how do we use AI as a strategy. It's just overall agnostic to the tools. There are so many leverageable opportunities that are coming. I'm based in the US. We have a higher level of surveillance that's being implemented because of AI, which means more data is becoming more accessible. And in the United States, we're able to do retargeting endeavors that Europe has laws explicitly against. South Africa has jail time associated to it. But in the United States, this visibility into all that data exchange, that marketplace of that information is extremely leverageable as long as you sit on your fingers, don't type into AI and have AI tell you what to do first, and you have a strategic lens in which to do it. There's a huge opportunity coming. But yeah, you're right. The attribution crisis, the over-reliance on AI is summarized well into a strategic deficit for many brands right now.
How can we bridge this strategy deficit in the next months?
Okay, how do we bridge a strategy deficit? With a magic lamp and 3 wishes. But I think the reality is the first thing you need to do is you need to zoom out. I think people get so hyper-focused on the individual initiative that they get so hyper-focused on the individual initiative that they neglect to see where everything comes in together, like the incremental impact, the tangential benefits are often disregarded because I don't see an immediate same day positive impact. We need to zoom out, not just at the timeline of when we're looking at the impact of something, but we also need to zoom out to understand the tangential intersections of our various marketing efforts. We can't continue to be like, I'm only looking at SEO, I'm only looking at paid ads, I'm only looking at social media. We need to understand all of our marketing efforts combined and the output that we're actually achieving. Start there.
It's quite interesting what you're saying, and I know that at Mongoose Media, your agency, you are dealing with high-ticket companies, and also you're running quite big media budgets. I'm curious, I want to build on your experience. What do you think you see maybe at different levels so we can group potential customers?
Sure.
What do you see still today maybe business leaders are getting fundamentally wrong regarding digital marketing state as we speak?
I think what a lot of I'll start. So I have like a crawl, walk, run. You can equate that to the revenue, or you can equate that to the level of investment on a specific channel. But either way, like the crawl are the babies, the walking is the toddlers, the running are the children, right? And then eventually you get to the point where you're like with a walker and you're like generational wealth. But I think a lot of businesses, like especially small businesses, get wrong with digital marketing is they think that digital marketing is the only solution for their business. They stop looking at the fundamentals. They stop looking at in-person marketing. They stop looking at referral marketing. They're not doing anything in print anymore. It's just like, look, I could spend $1,000 on digital marketing and I can get 10,000 data points. And I get overwhelmed with the amount of data that I forget about the amount of my return on investment. So KPIs cannot be overshadowed by ROI. And I think small business owners, again, I'll use the language of over-index on digital marketing and make assumptions that this is a silver bullet and the only thing I should do for my business. And I think bigger businesses, what they get wrong on digital marketing is that digital marketing is the same way as in-person marketing. So like trade show marketing or mailer marketing. I think what bigger businesses do wrong is they neglect A/B testing and they neglect conversion rate optimization. It's always been like a nice to have and an essential investment. But I think the way that AI, programmatic AI, and so much of the digital marketing landscape is we're removing a lot of the decisions required to have successful campaigns. The thought process and strategies required to go into CRO, which would have been a nice to have, is now a non-negotiable. And the resources that you've been able to free up because of how digital marketing has essentially gotten easier, fewer buttons to push, fewer things to implement, AI has saved a lot of those redundancies. I think big businesses are sorely lacking a focus on the actual digital experience and doing any A/B testing. I don't understand why so many businesses are just going away from it and making the assumption, well, I'm such a big brand, I don't need to test. I just need to use that same budget, so I'm going to spend more elsewhere versus being more dialed in specific. It's like this shiny object syndrome that small businesses have always in chasing new software, but big businesses have of chasing new investment channels versus really dialing in and being hyper conscious of the humanization in their brand and their budget distribution.
Am I correct if I would say that the best combination would be to have the agility of a small business which can try multiple things in the same time, or one after the other, just to fail fast, fail forward, and with the budget of the bigger business to really reinforce and then put in practice what the A/B tests are showing?
I mean, yeah, that's like the perfect combination where I would add a pinch of policy protection so that you're not throwing yourself into a moving target in a litigious society. Again, I'm in the US, so it's pretty common that plays. Yeah, I think the agility of a small business owner, it's hard to say with the budget of a big brand, but I would say rather than associating a dollar amount, but I would say the risk tolerance of a big brand. So they may say like 15 to 40% of all sales of new sales should be reinvested back into marketing. Usually like you'll have like a 7 to 15% top line of what your marketing budget is. And then a lot of small businesses are like, well, I just have $50, but then they're going to spend money on a like $2,000 purse. So they're not reinvesting at a percentage the same way a bigger business does. And then a bigger business isn't moving with agility the way a small business will.
We were talking the other day in your masterclass Marketing Rehab about platforms also, and which platform to use, and to what extent, and to which campaign. You are also in touch with most of the social platforms at pretty high level. What do you think? Which ones are going through a structural change, not just constant algorithm tweaks which we experience on a daily basis?
I think, well, the big three I count as Google, Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So those are the big three socials. And then I have a sub-tier social, which is in like Snapchat, LinkedIn, Reddit. And then the tertiary wannabe socials, like X and Blue Sky and other emerging like Threads. Even though it's within the Metascape, I don't count it as Facebook and Instagram. It's like I want to be a copycat type of social. I think Google, TikTok are faster than Meta, but I believe all of the big three are going, like they're changing so much so that I think 50% of the jobs that people think about when it comes to advertising on any of those platforms won't exist by the end of this year. I think Google and TikTok have so rapidly invested into removing proficiency inside of their platforms at a faster rate, and in a way that they're saying, like, we don't want marketers. Everyone's super focused on, like, I want to work with agencies because agencies bring a big list of clients, and Meta more so than Google and TikTok. But I see the big three eliminating at least 50% of the jobs that we think of today related to advertising on those platforms by end of year. And then I think the smaller one, like the second tier, so the Pinterest, the LinkedIn, the Snapchat, like I think those social media platforms, where they're evolving is trying to be more niche. So the bigger ones are trying to take more market share, owning the entire experience. Right? They don't want you to leave their ecosystem. They don't want to have to buy data from another platform. So having these like bigger city level ecosystems for the advertising. The secondary ones, I think they're actually going the opposite. So I think LinkedIn and Snapchat and Pinterest, like those are more focused in trying to isolate who they don't want on the platform. Pinterest, unfortunately, what I have seen they do is using so much AI that they've made the user experience significantly worse, in my opinion, which I think is going to take a year or two to recover from. But I like that LinkedIn, at like the second tier, they're being more, I don't want to own the city, I want to own the block. And then the tertiary ones, I mean, they're just trying to figure out what they're trying to do. They're just copycatting everything left and right and being like, I'll take whatever morsels I can grab.
Going a little bit one level higher, what are the most important trends you see overall in digital marketing for 2026 already kicking in, or you expect to kick in later on this year?
Okay, I'm going to go into like Meta because that's like my favorite wheelhouse. One of the trends that I'm expecting to kick in later this year, it's not working right now. It had a brief moment in Q4, and we're actually like in this, like we're restructuring everything. So it was like this false promise kind of thing. Almost like what is it, like preeclampsia? Like, you know, like if you're pregnant and you have fake cramps before it is, that's what I thought was happening. Like I thought we were delivering a baby of better marketing efficiency. No, those turned out to be like hexen bricks, whatever. So in Meta, what I see coming later this year is a continued consolidation of your marketing efforts and a further removal of actually the same thing. It's marketing efforts of what to do and marketing efforts of what to provide. I think later this year, we're going to see that Meta is going to have a more integrated user experience, more funnel integrations. And I think that they're going to take like the organic content from your Instagram, from your Facebook posts, and from your business conversations is going to be leveraged to create more tailored experiences per user, to the point where the business owner is just going to have to approve, and they're going to say, I choose conversions over control. So that it's going to be, it's not having as much now in a way that makes sense, because you're not seeing the conversions support the lack of control. There's still some place where you have to have a level of control that's against their best practices for performance, but I see that's where it's coming, where a small business owner will be able to say, here's my Instagram of everything I've ever posted, make ads for me, and turn it on as if it's like a faucet. I want money today. I'm gonna give you $1, I want 20 back. I think that's where it's coming, and I think that's gonna be this year, by Black Friday, I think.
In Meta, not only.
In Meta specifically.
And the others?
Yeah. In Google, what I think, so for e-commerce with Google, I think based off of, so what's interesting about LLMs, Google from an SEO perspective has been the dominant leader for the last 20 years for search engine optimization, SEO. Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo, everything else followed Google. With LLMs, so Claude and Gemini, everything is in isolation. So there's no real leader. And we're finding ourselves in these different LLM bubbles. But Google still dominates search ads, inbound ads. So I think where Google wants to go, but I don't think they'll be able to because of like antitrust stuff, is where they want to create call centers and for lead gen, and for e-commerce, they want to be able for you to purchase within the single search query. So like when we go back and forth with, let's say, ChatGPT or Meta AI, you're having conversations, the conversations end up creating a list of tasks for someone to do. Like we've got already agentic AIs, that's okay. What I see Google doing is you thought about it, and like where they want to go is to make those proactive decisions for you, so that when the product arrives at your house, all you have to decide whether or not is if you want to keep it, not whether or not you want to buy it. So I think the Google Ads ecosystem is moving towards, I know you want it, I'm going to try before you buy, and you're going to keep what you actually want and then put the burden on returning, not on buying decision making. That's where I think Google wants to go, but I don't think they're going to hit it this year. Does that make sense?
Nope. That sounds interesting. And what about you already mentioned the agentic era where we could end up having our own agents who are buying for us, for example, or searching or doing some things.
Yeah.
I know that some LLMs already started advertising for limited areas or domains. And in US, that's already is running the test. It's not here yet. What do you see at this moment in terms of advertising in the LLMs? And in later on, we will discuss about agentic e-commerce.
Sure. So with LLMs, like you can advertise inside of ChatGPT right now. They announced it on February 6th at Adweek, but you have to have a minimum of a $200,000 commitment. So it's very geared towards the Coca-Colas and Disneys of the world. Mm-hmm. I think what's going to be interesting is you're going to essentially, like, I look at social media profiles as a website. When someone goes and they're on social and they look at your social profile, it's the same as if they're on the web and they look at your website. Your social media profile is a social website. Your website is a www website. I think we're going to have to make agentic AI websites. I think we're going to have to make, without the fluff, without the user experience. Like right now we build websites where we have the user experience for the human and then the SEO experience where it's like, we have FAQ schema, we have what is our meta description, we have all image text, all that stuff. I think we're going to go into a place where
FAQ schema, yeah.
Exactly. All of that stuff is made not for the user, but for the bot that's like pulling you as the resource in the search engine. So the answer retriever, I look at your website, oh, okay, H1, H2, H3, this is the hierarchy, this is what you're talking about, this is most relevant for my end user. So the bot reads that on the back end, and then the user experience is the front end. I think we're going to end up having in the very near future a third website that we have to build. And the thing is, I don't think most people look at their social profiles, especially for their businesses, as a website. I don't think they treat it that way. I don't know why. It should be, but whatever. That's on them to be behind. And like I see how social profiles convert customers. So I just think there's going to be a new website that we're going to make that's going to be set up for the LLMs and the agents to go through, to crawl through, to interact with. That's going to be very different than the user, such as that website's going to have all the discounts. That website's not going to have that customer service. That website's going to have answers, whereas the human website is going to have experience.
It's interesting what you're saying, and that ties to the other big subject, which you already hinted at the beginning of this episode, is the fact that we are living in an attribution challenge, to say the least, in our marketing world.
Crisis.
Well, crisis.
I liked your word. Yes. Crisis.
And I think that's going to be a huge shift for all marketeers and strategize, including a strategic level, because well, data is going to be missing more and more, maybe, or we have a flood of data which we cannot cope with it or process it. But do you think we already should start rethinking measurement in 2026? I'm talking about measurement in terms of our campaigns efficiency or ROI and ROAS and so on and so on. Or it's
I think you should have been doing it since 2024 or 2021 when the iOS updates happened with Apple. I think we have to radically look at what we measure. And I think like you did a good phrase. You said the like overwhelm of data. You're talking about we have too much. So even at the beginning, you said like we have dashboards that have all these KPIs, but I don't have a compass that tells me where's my true north. Like we're looking at a map and this map is showing the United States has 50 different states. And you're like, where's Chicago? I don't know. I'm looking at 50 different states and rivers and mountains and national parks. And there's no longitude and latitude. Like I don't have direction. So I think we need to, for tracking and in 26, look at what we're measuring. I think we need to choose a North Star. Like I like looking at people at the end of the day, what do you want more of in this 6 months? I don't like when people make a 3-month sprint. You have to have 6 months because remember, it's strategic. You have to look out larger. And that view has to look at a timeline and has to look at outside of a channel. But if we're looking at 6 months, what is your North Star for the next 6 months? And it's like, what do you want more of? Do you want more customers? Do you want more revenue? Do you want more repeat purchases? Or do you want more efficiency? Like you have to choose one because you can say, well, I want everything. Okay, me too. I want to look 21 and be as smart as I will be when I'm 80. That's not happening yet. So choose your one North Star, like what is your compass? And then you can have other departments where their North Star has to contribute to this bigger one. I think we're having like these intra-department wars where people are competing and saying, well, no, I want more new subscribers. And they're like, no, I want to increase my average order value. And we're sacrificing our profit for our KPIs that are against our actual return on investment. So yes, in 2026, we have to be more considerate of what we're measuring. And I think it starts with simplifying and like cutting all the crap. Excuse my language, but it's like, it's just noise right now. What do you want more of? Start from there. And then we can figure out how we're going to get more of it. Stop looking at all these different numbers and like, oh, this is cool. No. What do you want more of in 2026? That's what's old is new. That's been around since like Babel Tower, right? What do you want more of?
Mm-hmm. And if we identify what we want more, and as you mentioned, in the North Star, then probably all the other stars will align, and we will be easier for us to decide what to do in order to achieve that thing which we want to accomplish in the next 6 months or even more. Another shift which I've seen, and I would like to propose to comment a little bit on it, is that I see that we are moving more and more, or at least we are talking about it. We will see if it will stick with us. Probably yes, I would say. We are moving more and more from the clicks towards visibility. in AI systems, so clicks in Google or other search engine platforms, towards how visible are we in the AI LLMs? What shift in mindset should we have as a marketeer? That's the second question, actually. And first, is this a real thing or just a hype?
I love this. I think it's such a real thing because, again, it's advertising versus marketing. If people don't know who you are, why are they going to give you their 16 digits? So I think visibility is so important. I mean, it goes back to like we do advertising on billboards. Lawyers in the US buy every bus stop park bench possible. I just need to bring in repetition so I become a household name so that when you're in a state of mind where you're ready to solve a problem that you have, I come up at the top of the list. So for me, I love the visibility. And what I think is the next piece of that visibility is when you do get the click, it's actually earned click. I think right now, like we're just in like, we're in a phase like, look, the reality is Candy Crush changed what I think about with clicks. I watched so many of my friends and their moms playing Candy Crush and like, I will click on anything. Give me another life. And so we started getting these insincere clicks. And I think when you have visibility, you have a better gauge on the latency between awareness and conversion.
I'm wondering whether we can consider the following: LLMs adding just an extra channel of communication towards our customers, or are they replacing old search engines?
So if LLM, you're like asking like from the decentralization of search, I don't want to say that LLMs are driving the largest piece of decentralization of search because I think it's just everyone's been competing. Google has been the only place to go and find your answers for years. Instagram is used by millennials more for search. TikTok is used more by Gen Z for search. LLMs are used more by husbands for search than any other, at least in my sphere of influence. I think it's just another contribution to what's been a growing trend for 5 or 6 years and a desperate desire by other companies for the better part of 2 decades. So I don't think that like LLMs are the driver behind the behavior change. I think they're just the most equipped to capitalize on more market share from Google than other places.
We talked about shifts which are in our life and trends. Do we have evergreen things which should not be forgotten in 2026 and keep doubling down on them? And we should do like the good old school stuff still works and will probably work in the next century.
Yeah.
What are these?
Don't forget that you have a human behind that subscriber. With a caveat that there's a lot of bots and like you need to facilitate like the bots is like it's the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about because of how many ramifications there are. If you like looked at the real numbers, like, oh, that's a scary ghost that can stay in the corner, right? But I think what we cannot forget that like when someone signs up for your business as an inquiry, adds your product to the cart, that's a real human with real 16 digits behind them. When you start to treat the people in your email list and the people visiting your website as just another number, you are just making them a factory for your profit. But what we cannot forget that those are real humans that have real things happening in their life. And when we pay for their attention, that's what we're doing. We're buying their attention and we're earning their trust. The fastest way you can lose their trust is to lose any interest in who they are individually. And I know that's hard. I know that like it takes more resources. People just want to like turn the faucet on. Just make me more money. But if we forget who the people are behind the purchases, you're not going to be able to scale into a relevant brand. Gen Z and Gen Alpha grew up on devices. They were connected and like they went to school remotely. Their friends online, like Gen Z, their friends were playing video games with them online. Their bullying came from online. Their interaction with society and the world is from online. And if we remove the experiential part, the connection, the community aspect, you're just going to become commoditized and you're just going to be an Amazon brand if you're e-commerce that Jeff Bezos is going to copycat and put you out of business, or you're going to be a lead generating high ticket or software company that someone else is going to come in, take all of your ideas. You beat them to market, but they beat you to sale. You cannot forget the humanization. Like, you cannot forget there are people behind your emails. You have to stop looking at them as if it's line items, or there's no reason you should still be in business. Sorry, that was me.
Okay, so I note down that we don't have to forget that we are still marketing for, and we are targeting, in a good sense, of course, human beings. Any other evergreen thing which we should not forget and still focus on it in 2026?
I think more in 2026, we have so many automations in place, and we'll like say, I'm going to have this person get called 18 times in the course of 3 days. I'm going to keep bothering them. And again, it's like, you forget that they're humans. This could be a mom who has a toddler with colic and they cannot get to the appointment because they have something else going on in their life. I think we cannot forget that abusive messaging and the assumption that, of course, they want us, we're the best thing. I mean, it still is like a subsect of like there are humans behind it, but we cannot beat the customer to death so that we lose any future interest in them being a part of our brand. They might just have a longer window when they want to convert with us.
Okay.
I've seen it. I go into some accounts and I audit like their frequency and follow-ups, and it's like, well, they booked an appointment. Of course, they want to come visit me. I'm the doctor. I'm the only thing. And I'm like, well, let's think about other things that are competitors. And like, if there was a third one, it's like you need to remember that your competitors aren't just your direct competitors. If you are selling something that consumes someone's time, so whether it's an app or a book or tickets to a concert, you're also competing with Netflix. You're competing for their attention, not just for their dollar, and you're not just for that specific solution. If I am a woman, I assumedly have insecurities, which means the solutions I'm looking for could be makeup, it could be reconstructive surgery, it could be a sex toy. It doesn't matter. It's like, what is going to build my confidence? The solution I'm looking for is to provide for confidence. And I think a lot of brands in 2020s on were like, the only people that are my competitors are the people selling the exact same thing that I'm selling versus people that are competing for the same level of attention and same dollars.
Great, that makes sense. Lauren, we talked about strategy crisis versus probably more than other in 2026. We talked about the fact that we should A/B test more. We should be also agile. We should focus our attention to our social media profile, which can be social website. We also talked about the fact that we need to find our North Star at least for the next 6 months and then focus in that direction all of our marketing efforts. And we should not forget that why are we doing all these, that there are people behind the business who's advertising, and mainly definitely at the moment still because agentic AI will probably change a little bit the situation. But still at the moment, on the vast majority of cases, we are still advertising for human beings who, nevertheless, they already made a change in their consumer behavior. Why? Because if in the past we were just looking at the SERP of Google and we were discovering information about a product or service or solution, now we might tend to have the idea to just do the easy thing, to just type in an LLM, and the LLM will recommend us 2 solutions, and then we will ask, okay, which one of these 2 would be the best based on our profile, and he will say this one. But in that era, as a marketeer, what skills should we start building up in order to be still relevant and highly improbable to replace by a very, very smart AI in the next 1 or 2 years?
Okay, when you were talking about like how we use LLMs and like the search and like help me help myself, we are just absorbing, like consumers are absorbing more information than ever. We had a trust recession in 2023, so I don't believe people. Now it's, I'm finding the answer. You're sourcing it for me, so I think I'm making a decision, even though depending on what AI LLM you're using, they're making decisions for you. But that's okay. I think a skill that someone could do in the face of AI and like the LLM specifically is understanding consumer insights stronger. And it would be understanding where can you find what your consumers care about? Where do you find what they're actually sharing their voice? Because people have been very vocal on Reddit, very vocal in Amazon reviews, very vocal in a 1,500 different places. And I think marketers are not skilling themselves up on how to find real consumer insights, which I think is a really good opportunity because if you look for the real insight and not the AI insight, you're going to get actual words from consumers versus assumptions from AI. So stronger research, understanding where is your consumer living, behaving, breathing, and telling you what they want.
Okay, so research is still a sexy thing to do, eh?
Research is still a sexy thing to do.
All right. Is there anything else which you would like to add to our discussion, or a topic which we should have been discussing in the intersection, coming back to what I started at the beginning, in the intersection of strategy, of AI, of performance marketing? And we have not done it.
I think there's 1,000.5 things. I don't know if this conversation will ever be over, but I would just invite people to consider at the intersection of performance marketing and strategic overall. Do not neglect your existing team. Don't we've talked about it a little bit of like, don't check your brain and over rely on AI. You have an abundance of people let me take it back. What I'm trying to say is I think one thing that's important to be mindful of is like when you're building your brand and you're building your moat and you have a team of performance marketers or you have a team that's helping you grow your business, there are ways you can empower them to 10x their current skill set. And then there's ways that you can devalue them and replace them with AI. And I think just really important is like the swing of the pendulum. I don't know if we talked about this like 6 months ago, but like I was like, oh, I feel really good because it's coming true. So many companies did mass layoffs being like, AI is a solution. There may be times where AI is a stronger replacement for a specific skill. Like we have jobs that don't exist anymore. Like there's no telephone switch operator. That job doesn't exist anymore. Jobs like media buying is not going to exist anymore. Like it's for sure going away. There's like truck drivers will not exist anymore. Like there's already automatic vehicles that are coming out. We know what's coming. But I think if you are a performance marketer yourself, or if you're working with marketing teams, you need to be able to build a moat. And part of that moat that's like goes around your castle and protects your brand and protects your team is leveraging AI in a way that 10x's your ability, but it starts with your initial ability. And I like, if you're training or learning or wherever you are in the scheme of things, you can't ignore the conversation of AI. You have to learn, train, and try. But I think what a lot of people are just doing is delegating the actual outcome they want without delegating the decision making behind it, the strategy behind it. So building that moat is, how can I go for the outcome and what other tools I can leverage? It's like, I think all performance marketers are going to become mini CEOs of their own business inside of a company where they'll have employee like software. And we've been doing that before, where it's like, I'm using different softwares. But the strength you're going to have is the intersection where you weave them all together, because no one has one solution that fits everything. But if you can combine this one plus this one and this one, you're going to be able to build, like Legos, a moat around your role, a moat around your brand, and a moat around your community that will allow you to sustain through another pandemic, through a terrible situation, or through an AI takeover. That would just be something I'd invite everyone to consider.
Thank you very much, Lauren. It was a lovely discussion. I welcome you every time back when you have great news or you tested something out. And I know that you're testing a lot and you're teaching a lot on your online platforms. And I really like that you are, as far as I understand, and I can judge, you're really using your social platforms, not just a social platform, but your social website. And talking about social, we are social people. So this show Forum IT, we have guests who leave questions for the next guest, not knowing who she or he would be. And the last guest left a question for you, which is sounding the following. What I'm translating from Romanian. What thing or information in your domain made you say recently, wow, even if you had been considering that there is no more any breakthrough or invention possible in your domain? What made you wow in your domain, a thing or information, even if you were considering that nothing can be discovered or invented or changed anymore?
Okay, I would say the last time I went wow and was like impressed, like within my domain, is like within the Meta ecosystem, there's a breakdown, and you can look at first conversion versus all conversions. I was impressed because Google's been doing this for like 2 years, and so Meta's finally jumping on the train. But I also went wow because it gave so much more visibility into user behavior from an ad to a conversion, and because of the documentation around it that talks about the incremental lift. So I was really impressed that Meta's moving themselves off of the narrative that says, we are the only reason you're getting sales, to being, look at the contribution we're having, and let's show you more of that information. I know that sounds like a really weird, geeky one, but when I saw the more information they're providing to attribution, at the beginning we started this attribution crisis, we're totally in it. And Meta showing of the, like, let's say 90 sales you did yesterday, 64 came from first conversion. And then you have the remaining 26 that actually led from a second conversion. So now you have people that are doing more interaction with your business, and you can make actual decisions versus assuming everyone's new customer or just buying one thing. And when you start looking at it on a per product or per funnel or per campaign basis, I was like, oh shoot, this is cool.
Okay, thank you very much, Lauren. It was a pleasure to talk with you. I recommend every one of you to check out Lauren. She's a very nice person, and she will communicate with you, dialogue with you if you have a question for her. This was Forum IT. This episode we talked about many things, and I noted down at least 3 great ideas. One is that if you are a business owner or a marketeer, you should start building out even stronger muscle of consumer insight research. How to do it, to figure it out, what are our consumers thinking and wanting and doing. And second is the fact that we never should forget at the moment that we are still marketing for human beings, and taking this in consideration, and definitely having a strategy with a North Star, at least for 6 months, it's a great idea to focus and efficiently allocate your resources and energy. Thank you very much for watching us again on Forum IT. I welcome you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It gives us an indication that you like what we are doing, and this will make us to be motivated to bring great guests like Lauren we had today. Thank you very much. Till the next time, think in terms of a researcher to find out new things, even about AI.